All right, so let's get going, and we'll start with, first of all, I want to talk cases, and then we're going to talk about declensions. Who has to? You has declension, right? You has to. Yeah. We're gonna. So that's what we're gonna do. Who is confident that they know what a case is? What a Latin case is? Who's confident of that? Okay, that's fine. Then here's what we're gonna do. Pull out this sheet of O paper, right there, if you don't mind. Pull that one out and take a look at it. I'm gonna actually move forward to this slide. All right, I can point to it. Yeah, that's gonna be.
I need the workout.
That's what mine is.
All right. Okay, Latin nouns. There's a bunch of them, right? And each noun belongs to its own declension. And I'm gonna take the word declension out, and I'm gonna put family in. Okay. Each noun belongs to a different family. I have a family, and those family members act a certain way. I have 2 boys, and it's fairly embarrassing, so I won't go into that. But there are other families that act a different way, and other families that act yet a different way. Well, that's what declensions are, and we'll go more into that. But they behave a certain way. And so if there is a Latin noun that belongs to the first declension, to the first family, then they will always have these endings. There will never be any other ending, ever, if the noun belongs to the first declension. The only endings you will ever need to worry about are these. Are you with me? We'll talk in a minute. If a noun, you look at a Latin noun in the vocabulary or in the glossary, and it says second declension. Oh, I know that particular noun will always use these endings and none other. Okay? Third declension, boom, fourth and fifth. By the way, if anything in Latin that has a 3 in front of it, it's from Satan. All right? So third declension nouns, third conjugation verbs, they are from Satan. Just to let you know. You guys know this, don't you? They're like, third what? The good news is that most Latin nouns are actually indeed third declension nouns. That's handy. Okay, so if you were to see a Latin word written, and let's go with a first declension noun. If you were to see that word written, and let's just assume, well, if you look at that word, the first thing that ought to pop into your head is, oh, I know the vocabulary entry for that, right? Because I learned it. Yeah, I know the vocabulary. And in your mind, you are thinking this, all right? 2 words. When you learn a noun, you learn 2 words, right? Everybody, yes?
You might explain what vocabulary entry means.
The vocabulary entry, that would be, if you looked in the glossary and it said, and you looked up terra, it would be hopefully that. All right, you'll learn 2 words. And I'll tell you what those words are in a minute, but you in your mind's eye, you see this and you go, I recognize that as a first declension noun. I'll tell you, we'll explain that in a minute. Don't worry. Okay, that's a first declension noun. Okay, that's cool. I know that. Now here's a sentence, right? The king sees the earth or the land, and the king, he sees the land. And so you look at that, and maybe you don't know what these words mean yet, but you look at it and you go, okay, I know this is a first declension noun, and I recognize that because I learned that in foundations, that is a first declension ending. First declension ending, first declension. It's only going to be these, never those. First declension ending, am, right there. This word is an accusative case. It is a direct object. Okay? And so you don't even need to know what that means or what this means, but you know that this is the direct object of the sentence. Okay? So the king sees what? Sees the land. It's a direct object. All right? So if you see a word and it is in the nominative case, in other words, if it's a first declension noun and it ends with a, you know that it is being used nominatively. It's in the nominative case, which means it's the subject of the sentence or the predicate noun. Predicate noun, Predicate noun. What's another word for predicate noun? Predicate nominative. Okay, yeah. But for ease, for sake of ease, we'll say if you see the word terra and it ends with an A, then it is the subject of that sentence. You don't even have to know what it means. If you know it's a first declension noun, then you know it's the subject. Are you with me? Okay. If I saw a noun on the board and I knew that it was a second declension noun, well, let's not move it. Let's not do that yet. Let's do this. What if you saw the word used this way? Okay, you look at that word and you go, what? Oh, look. Okay, I recognize that vocabulary. Oh yeah, I know that means lamb. I know it's a first declension noun. Tell me what you know about this word.
It's genitive.
What is the ending of this word? Arum. All right. And we, from our brains, we learned this in foundations. We know that this is a genitive plural of the lands, is what that means. Okay? Are you with me? So far, what if we saw this? What would we know in a sentence? We see that word in a sentence. We know it's first declension.
Ablative.
It's the ablative case, which means it's the object of the preposition. Mostly, not always. Okay, we're going to go a little bit black and white right now, just because we're at the grammar level, right? Black and white. And they learn this in foundations. Nominative is a subject. Genitive is, what do they learn? Possessive. Okay. Dative is indirect object. Accusative is direct object. And ablative is, okay. That's a good place to start. It's not always that way. But black and white, that's what it means. Let's just stick with that right now, okay? So when you see the endings used in the sentence, you know what part of speech it is. Now sometimes it's not as cut and dry. How is this being used in the sentence? Don't know. Yes?
It depends on the context.
It depends on the context. Very good. I don't do any of that stuff because I don't know how. It's either a nominative plural, it's either the subject of the sentence, the lands are out before me, or it is genitive, something of the land, right? Or it could be dative. Why do they do this? Why do they have three of these? Why do they have these?
The Romans hate us.
Because the Romans hate you. It's that simple. Okay? Okay. All right. So that's sort of very basic on what noun endings are. We'll come back to it in a moment. However, I would like to go to a different document, which this other document was kind of too long to print 10 times. And so I will, I'm going to email this. We'll email this one and there's another one. And essentially, I'll email several to you, okay? So let's go to, let's go, okay. Declensions. What is a declension? What is a declension? In English, we have certain groups of nouns that act a certain way, all right? And I don't know if this is but if we're gonna stop and let me pause, because what I'm about to give you some examples. These examples don't translate exactly into Latin examples, right? But what I'm going to focus on in English is how we make a word plural and how we make a word possessive, right? But if I have the word pig, how do I make it plural? I add an S. If I have the word dish, how do I make it plural?
Yes.
Add an ES. Do you see the difference? These nouns do not act the same. Cat, cats, right? Fish, fish, or fishes.
Fish.
Okay, fish or fishes. Let's go with ES because I'm trying to make a point.
Okay.
And keep her quiet. How about okay. Yeah, okay. In English we have, I don't know how many, 300,000 different declensions. All right? In Latin, there's only 5. Okay, there's more. But let's just play like there's 5. 5 big ones. That's what we're focusing on, all right? But do you see in English? Okay, here's one. This is maybe a sort of strange category. So what else might we throw into this category? Let me back up. Let's go with moose.
Deer.
Deer. Okay, deer. Okay, so here we have 2 examples of a noun. When you make it plural, there's no change. Why do they do this? Because the Americans hate you.
How about goose and geese?
Goose and then geese. Yes, okay. Child and children. Okay, I'm going to go with this. This is not exactly the same, but, okay. You see your problem here? If I was trying to learn the English language, I would try to wrap my head around, I would try to categorize these, all right? So that when I hear, if I say, okay, this is, I'm going to call this, this is not truth, okay? But I'm going to call this declension number 3, just cause, all right? This is American declension number 3. I totally made that up, right? But if I'm a foreigner and I come in and I learn a word and someone tells me, oh, that's sort of like an American declension 3 word, I know immediately that if I want to make it plural, I do nothing, right? So if I see this word in a sentence, how's it being used? Well, it's either singular or plural. I don't know which. Right? Did you remember the AEs? I don't know which. Okay. Does that sort of make sense? Okay. What if I wanted to make pigs plural, singular possessive? Yeah, P-I-G apostrophe S. How about plural possessive? Pigs. Yes, apostrophe, right? How about this one? Apostrophe S, but then ES apostrophe. Right? Okay, that's a bit of a change. I don't know. Anyway, we don't need to go into that. My point is, in English, we have declensions. We just don't know them. All right? In Latin, they have declensions. So, if instead of writing dish, if I wrote terra, and I said, I want to make that plural. How do I do it? Do I add an S? No.
Yes.
I add an AE. That makes it plural, pretty much. Okay, let's just stay with subject of the sentence. Okay. Do you see what I'm saying? Now, there are other nouns out there, and if I was a foreigner learning a Latin language, oh, by the way, that's what we are, and someone told me, yeah, that's a first declension noun, I would immediately know if I want to use it as a subject, and I want to make it plural, the ending has to be AE. I would immediately know. Just like, I got to add ES for dishes. Does that sort of make sense?